an uplink. You know, the radio is just so 80s for you.
That's completely right. Actually, I still use a Walkman. But I think look, I think it's important to have people dissenting from the program. I think that Barack Obama is still given this huge pass by the press, is still worshipped by most reporters, and I want someone to dig into what he's actually doing.
Yeah, I do too.
So I'm kind of glad Rush Limbaugh's here.
I do too, but I want it to be more intelligent instead of just throwing out ridiculous assertions that just make no sense at all, which is what Rush Limbaugh does. There's guys on that dissent with Obama that I like Neil Bortz. I think Neil Bortz does a good job of dissenting and having a different opinion. I think Rush does an awful job. I mean, he's out of his mind with.
I think Glenn Beck does a good job.
Yeah, Glenn Beck does a good job.
But Rush is just so. I mean, honest to God, Barack Obama or any Democrat for that matter could come up with a cure for AIDS, and Rush Limbaugh would have a problem with it. He'd find something wrong with it. And I think we're over that mentality.
I agree with that. No, I mean I agree with you. I think that partisanship, just like pure loyalty to a party, you know, I like you because you're a Democrat, or I like you because you're a Republican, I hate you because you're not. That is stupid, and I don't know if Limbaugh does that or not, but I think
that's exactly what it is.
It's all he does.
That's all he does. And one of the reasons why I think that Barack Obama, as you said, has been given a pass by Americans and by the media is I think that for the first time, he doesn't play, although he might play partisan politics, not to the tune of what most people have. I think he's a breath of fresh air. He may be a buffoon and an idiot with political pundits like yourself that know what he's doing, but I think that the average person right now, he's a breath of fresh air compared to what we've been force-fed for the last however many years.
You know who has the biggest problem with Obama right now is the left. The left has the biggest problem with Obama right now.
Because he's the first guy. I mean, Tucker, he's the first guy that, you know, he's kind of, I wouldn't say he's middle of the road, but I mean, he's the most middle of the road liberal Democrat we've had in there, is he not?
He definitely is.
He's the most far left Democrat we've ever had in American history. He just happens to have a really appealing, calm, soothing personality.
Are you being rushed right now?
He's a good guy with terrible politics.
As far as economic, policies, he is. I mean, he's very left.
He's the farthest left we've ever had. Hold on. I'm watching him yesterday on TV talk about Iran and say things that I think are genuinely stupid. Like, I think he honestly doesn't have any idea what he's talking about.
Let me ask you a question.
And I'm listening to this, and I'm thinking to myself, this guy is so soothing that if I wasn't listening to the words, I would agree with it because
let me ask you a question.
He's likable.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Wasn't the most... Now, you're going to get mad at me as saying this, okay? I promise. No. I promise you are. And I'm probably going to piss off a lot of people. And I'm not a smart man, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not. I don't proclaim to be a smart man. This is not the excellent broadcast talent on loan from God. I don't have any talent. This is talent on loan for a couple hillbillies that had sex back in '65 over the transmission of a '65 Chevy and morphed me into this. It's what it is. It's bamboozling at its finest. It's smoke and mirrors with a great support staff. But I'll tell you the last person that is guilty of what Barack Obama is doing is Ronald Reagan. I'm going to tell you this right now. I mean, Ronald Reagan, Brent, is supposed to be the end-all, be-all. But Ronald Reagan centered himself around good people and was a great communicator.
Yes.
And, if you didn't listen to him necessarily, he was very soothing. He was very father-like. He was very, worldly. Now, Tucker, what's your opinion on that? I'm not saying that he was an idiot.
Well, I think you're partly right. I mean, I think you're right in that Reagan had a way of communicating that calms people down. Not everybody. A lot of people hated Reagan.
And that's what we need right now. We need to be calmed down. We need to be assured that it's okay. Now,
I agree.
Now, Manson
I'm complimenting Obama. I think his tone is remarkable. It's pitch perfect. I mean, I disagree with everything he says, and I don't hate him.
Now, Manson says, as far as economic-wise, he's one of the most liberal and to the left, which I would probably agree. But, now, wouldn't you have to agree? Now, everybody's going to think that I'm a big Obama mark. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm fag for him. I want to have interracial gay love. No, I'm just saying.
Would you?
No. Well, yeah, I probably would. Anyway, but here's
let's be totally honest.
Let's be totally honest. Let's be totally honest. Hi, I'm Bubba the Love Sponge, and I've never...
if you're going to do it, you might as well do it the Commander-in-Chief.
Yeah, I never frolicked around on any manhood-type sexual parameters.
Except for Hogan.
But, besides Hulk Hogan, me and him French kissing a few times, I happen to take care of Barack Obama. Yeah, go ahead and call me a homo. So anyway, Tuck, here's the deal. Maybe our country is so upside down and so messed up that it would take... Now, hey, Tuck, this is just purely argument reasons. I probably am 100% stupid and wrong, but maybe the reason why he is so far to the left, economic-wise, is because anything short of that will not work, because we are so... I don't think that since, the Depression of the 30s have we been in these struthers. What's your feelings on that?
Well, that's right. Barack Obama didn't get us there in the first place. He's not responsible for that, and I'm not blaming him for it. I think, though, that a measure of leadership is, of a leader is how he responds in crisis, and I think Obama's response to this has been, crazy.
But, how can you...
incredibly stupid.
But how can you say that?
Too.
How can you say... I think you would agree that nobody right now... Now, you know what, Tucker? A year from now, 18 months from now, if we're still in these problems, I will agree with you. I don't want to be construed as drinking the Obama Kool-Aid. But how can you say that they're stupid and that they're not well thought out? It's not been enough time... for anybody to be able...
Sure. Well, for sure, because it's very clear now, and Democrats understand this too, that the country will literally be bankrupt in 5 years if Obama does what he says he's going to do. That's everybody knows that.
Well, nobody can... No, there's no expert on that.
Just do the math.
There's no... Just do the math now as to where we're headed if we don't do something.
Well, I was reading in the UK Telegraph yesterday that the IMF and some other places have said that the recession in America is going to end sooner than they thought.
Yeah, well, again, Tucker.
Okay, but look, Obama says, for instance, here's what bothers me. It's not that I think Obama's a bad guy. I think he's a nice guy. He's probably a good guy. I think he loves his kids. I'm not attacking him personally. But when he says, we need to do something about health care, well, why do you think the quote, health care system, by the way, there is no health care system in the United States. But
you got that right.
When he's referring to the health care system, he's talking really about Medicare and Medicaid.
Yes.
That's what's bankrupting the country. So it's poorly run, ill-conceived government programs that are sending us deep into the red.
Well, now,
so when Obama says, we need to reform our healthcare system, what he's saying is we need to add to, expand, make more government programs just like the ones that are bankrupting us. It's crazy.
I don't think that... I agree with you. I do. I
agree with Tuck on this one.
I do. I agree with you, buddy. But I think that is only the surface of what our problems are. I don't think that Medicaid and Medicare...
Huge issue.
I don't even think it's a huge issue, to be honest with you. I think that it's a big one, and it probably takes a ton of money, but I don't think it's the... I think the war in Iraq, which I'm not happy with how he's handled. I think that, the credit default swap, I think that the dereg of the banking industry or the stock market as such... again, I don't think that Medicaid and Medicare are the culprits of why we are where we are. I don't think that they help, but there's other situations that.
Well, I'm not saying that those two programs are single-handedly destroying the country. I'm just saying I'm giving one example of his mismanagement.
Well,
the guy doesn't know anything about economics. He's never had a real job. He worked at a college. He was in the state legislature. He wrote 2 books about himself, and then he was like some volunteer community organizer. That's fine. It doesn't make you a bad person. Again, I don't think he is a bad person, but that's not the kind of grounding that gives you a sense of how the market works at all. And he clearly has no idea how the market works.
I want to make a point with you about Iran, where I think Obama's right, where I have to disagree with you. From being over there, and I took Middle Eastern Studies through Syracuse University, and I dealt with the Saudis on a daily basis. So I've got a little bit of experience here. And where Obama's right...
different ethnicity, different religion, but yeah.
Well, different sect of the same religion. But nonetheless, where Obama is right is these people are hyper paranoid. They're xenophobic in Iran. They definitely hate the West. So when Obama says, hey, look, that's their election is their deal, the Iranians need to figure it out for themselves, that is going to be a quicker path to getting the clerics and the Ahmadinejads out of power. That's going to be a lot faster than the U.S. invading like we did in Iraq.
Man, I don't think we need to invade anybody.
Well, I don't think anybody's talking about invading Iran. Iran's a real country. Iran's not Iraq. Iraq was an impoverished mess. But Iran is a very large, pretty sophisticated country. I don't think anybody would consider invading it, right?
Well,
I think Bush was heavily considering.
Hard telling what we're considering doing. Hard telling what we're going to consider doing. I thought that I really thought that we were going to get out of Iraq.